Have you ever felt like your life has been filled with struggles that no one else seems to understand? Perhaps you have looked around at the people in your life and wondered why things seem easier for them while your path feels filled with obstacles, uncertainty, and silent battles. There are moments when it may feel as if you are walking through a storm that others cannot see, carrying burdens that few people truly recognize. While many people move through life following ordinary paths, the journey of the chosen one is often very different. For some individuals, life unfolds in a predictable rhythm. They follow familiar routines, build comfortable circles of friends, and rarely question the direction they are moving in. But for the chosen one, the experience of life tends to feel deeper and more intense. The road is often marked by unexpected challenges, periods of isolation, and inner battles that test your strength in ways that few others can fully understand. These moments can feel confusing and even unfair, as though you are being asked to carry more weight than those around you. Yet the truth is that these struggles may not be meaningless. Many people who eventually discover a powerful sense of purpose first go through seasons that feel difficult and lonely. The challenges you face can shape your character, sharpen your awareness, and reveal strengths that might otherwise remain hidden. What feels like hardship in the moment can quietly become the training ground where resilience, clarity, and inner power are formed. There may have been times when you felt separated from the crowd, as if your thoughts, your perspectives, or your goals were different from those around you. Perhaps you have experienced moments where others misunderstood your intentions or doubted the direction you were trying to follow. These experiences can create a sense of isolation that is difficult to explain, but sometimes the path that leads to personal growth requires stepping away from the noise of the world so that something deeper can develop within you. The journey of the chosen one is rarely comfortable, and it is almost never simple. It is a path that demands patience, self-reflection, and the courage to continue moving forward, even when the destination is not yet clear. The storms you face may feel overwhelming at times, but storms also have a way of shaping strength. Just as pressure can transform raw materials into something stronger and more refined, life's challenges can forge a mindset that becomes unbreakable. What many people fail to realize is that these trials are not random. They are often part of a process, a series of experiences that gradually prepare a person for something greater than they originally imagined. Each obstacle, each moment of doubt, and each difficult chapter can contribute to a deeper understanding of who you are meant to become. Over time, the very struggles that once seemed like setbacks can begin to reveal themselves as stepping stones. In this video, we are going to explore the trials that only the chosen one experiences. We will take a closer look at the kinds of struggles that often appear along this unique path, and why these experiences may actually be shaping the strongest version of you. If you have ever felt like your journey is different from the people around you, this message may help you see those challenges from a new perspective. And if this message resonates with you, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who may need to hear these words today, and subscribe to the channel for more content that explores the deeper journey of the chosen one. And now, let's dive in. One of the first trials many chosen ones experience is isolation. It does not always arrive suddenly, and in many cases it appears gradually, almost quietly, until one day you begin to realize that something has changed in your life. The connections that once felt natural may start to feel distant. Conversations that once flowed easily may begin to feel shallow or disconnected. People who once seemed like permanent parts of your world may slowly drift away, leaving behind a silence that can feel confusing and deeply unsettling. At first, this shift can be difficult to understand. You may ask yourself what went wrong, or wonder whether you somehow caused the distance that now exists between you and others. Human beings naturally seek belonging, and when that sense of belonging begins to fade, it can create a feeling of loss that is difficult to describe. You may look around and notice that others appear surrounded by social circles, laughter, and constant activity, while your own path seems to grow quieter and more solitary. For many chosen ones, this experience becomes one of the earliest and most powerful tests on their journey. It can feel as though life is slowly separating you from the familiar structures that once defined your identity. Friends may move in different directions, certain relationships may weaken or disappear altogether. Even within environments where you are physically surrounded by people, there can still be a deep sense that you do not truly belong in the same way you once did. During this stage, it is common to feel misunderstood. You may find that your interests, your questions, and your way of thinking begin to shift. Topics that once seemed important may start to lose their meaning, while deeper questions about purpose, growth, and self-discovery begin to occupy more of your thoughts. As this transformation unfolds, the distance between you and others may grow wider, not because anyone is intentionally pushing you away, but because you are gradually moving into a different stage of awareness. Isolation can feel painful because it removes the comfort that familiar connections once provided. Without the constant presence of others, there are fewer distractions from your own thoughts. The silence can feel heavy at first, and there may be moments when you wish for the noise of your previous life to return. Yet within this quiet space, something important begins to happen. When the noise of the outside world fades, you begin to hear your own inner voice more clearly. Without the pressure to constantly meet the expectations of others, you have the opportunity to reflect on who you truly are. You begin to examine your beliefs, your goals, and the direction your life is moving in. Questions that were once buried beneath daily routines suddenly rise to the surface. Many people move through life surrounded by constant stimulation. Their schedules are filled with activity, their attention is pulled in countless directions, and their minds rarely have the opportunity to become still. In that environment, it can be easy to follow the patterns of the crowd without ever stopping to ask whether those patterns truly align with their deeper purpose. But the chosen one often encounters a different path. Through periods of solitude, you are given the space to step away from the influence of the crowd. Without the constant feedback of social expectations, you begin to explore your own perspective on life. You begin to notice the difference between the person you were expected to be and the person you are gradually becoming. This stage can be uncomfortable because growth rarely occurs within comfort. When familiar relationships shift or disappear, it forces you to confront the parts of yourself that you may have previously avoided. You begin to develop emotional resilience as you learn to navigate life without relying entirely on the validation of others. In many ways, isolation becomes a training ground for independence of thought. You begin to trust your instincts rather than constantly seeking approval from the outside world. Your decisions become guided more by internal clarity than by external pressure. This transformation can take time, and there may be moments along the way when doubt appears. Yet each moment spent learning to stand on your own strengthens the foundation of who you are becoming. It is also important to understand that isolation does not always mean permanent loneliness. Rather, it often represents a temporary phase in which life creates space for growth. Certain relationships may fade because they were connected to an earlier version of yourself. As you change, the dynamics that once held those relationships together may naturally dissolve. At first, this process can feel like loss. You may remember the comfort of past friendships and wonder whether those connections could have remained the same. Yet sometimes the people who leave your life are not leaving because you have failed. Instead, they may simply no longer fit within the direction your life is moving toward. Growth has a way of reshaping the landscape of our relationships. As you evolve, your values, priorities, and perspectives begin to shift. Some individuals will naturally continue walking beside you on that journey, while others will gradually move in different directions. Although this can be difficult to accept, it is often a natural part of transformation. In fact, the space created by these changes can allow new possibilities to enter your life. When certain relationships end, they leave room for connections that align more closely with the person you are becoming. But before those new connections appear, there is often a period of quiet reflection where you learn to become comfortable with your own presence. This ability to be at peace with yourself is one of the most powerful strengths a chosen one can develop. When you are no longer afraid of solitude, you gain a level of emotional independence that many people never experience. Your sense of identity becomes rooted in your inner values rather than in the approval of those around you. Over time, what once felt like painful isolation can begin to reveal itself as a necessary stage of preparation. The quiet moments you once feared become opportunities for clarity. The distance you once felt from others becomes the space where your personal vision begins to take shape. The chosen one often walks through solitude, not because they are meant to remain alone forever, but because solitude allows them to discover who they truly are before stepping into the next phase of their journey. The silence teaches patience. The The distance builds resilience. The quiet reflection reveals truths that cannot easily be found in the noise of the crowd. Sometimes the people who leave your life are not losses at all. They are simply part of a larger process that clears the path ahead. By creating distance from certain relationships, life opens the door for transformation to occur. What once felt like abandonment can slowly transform into understanding as you begin to see that every change was guiding you toward growth. In the end, the trial of isolation is not meant to break the chosen one. It is meant to strengthen them. Through solitude, you learn to rely on your own inner compass. Through silence, you discover your own voice. And through the absence of external noise, you begin to understand the deeper purpose that has been quietly forming within you all along. Another common trial on the path of the chosen one is the experience of being misunderstood. This is not simply an occasional disagreement with others or a minor difference of opinion. For many chosen ones, the feeling goes much deeper. It can feel as though the way you see the world, the way you think, and the questions that arise within your mind are fundamentally different from those around you. While others may move comfortably within familiar patterns of thinking, you may find yourself looking beneath the surface, searching for meaning and understanding in places where others rarely look. This difference in perception can create a quiet but persistent distance between you and the people around you. Conversations that seem meaningful to others may feel shallow or incomplete to you. Situations that others accept without question may trigger curiosity or reflection within your mind. You may notice connections, possibilities, or concerns that others fail to recognize. And when you attempt to express these thoughts, you may be met with confusion or skepticism. Over time, these experiences can make you feel as though you are speaking a language that few people truly understand. It is not that others are intentionally dismissive or unkind. Often, they simply interpret the world through a different lens. What feels obvious or intuitive to you may appear unusual or unnecessary to someone whose perspective has developed along a different path. Many chosen ones remember moments in their lives when they attempted to share their ideas or visions with others, only to be met with doubt or criticism. Perhaps you expressed a goal that others believed was unrealistic. Perhaps you pursued a direction that seemed unconventional to those around you. In these moments, you may have felt the weight of judgment pressing against your confidence. Being misunderstood can be particularly painful because it touches a deeply human need for recognition and connection. Most people want to feel seen and understood by those around them. When your thoughts or intentions are repeatedly misinterpreted, it can create a sense of isolation that feels different from physical solitude. You may be surrounded by people, yet still feel that no one truly understands the direction your mind is moving in. For many chosen ones, this stage becomes a critical part of their personal development. The experience of being misunderstood forces you to confront an important question. Will you abandon your vision in order to gain approval? Or will you continue following the path that feels true to you, even when others cannot see where it leads? History provides many examples of individuals who faced this exact dilemma. Throughout time, some of the most influential thinkers, innovators, and leaders were initially misunderstood by the societies around them. Their ideas challenged existing beliefs, and because of that, they were often met with resistance or skepticism. What seemed unusual or impractical in one moment later became widely accepted once the deeper value of those ideas was revealed. This pattern appears again and again throughout human history. New perspectives rarely emerge from comfortable agreement. They often arise from individuals who are willing to question what others accept without reflection. When someone sees possibilities beyond the boundaries of conventional thinking, the path forward can feel lonely at first. Being misunderstood does not necessarily mean that every idea you have is correct. Reflection and humility remain important parts of growth. However, the experience of being misunderstood can also indicate that you are exploring perspectives that others have not yet considered. It may mean that your mind is searching for patterns, meanings, or possibilities that are not immediately visible to the people around you. The challenge for the chosen one is learning how to remain grounded in your own understanding while still respecting the perspectives of others. This balance can be difficult. When criticism or doubt appears repeatedly, it can slowly erode your confidence if you allow external opinions to define your sense of direction. There may be moments when you begin to question your own instincts. You might wonder whether it would be easier to simply follow the expectations that others place before you. Conforming to the crowd can provide a temporary sense of comfort, but for many chosen ones, that comfort comes at the cost of authenticity. The deeper path often requires the courage to stand in your own understanding, even when recognition is absent. This does not mean rejecting the value of community or collaboration. Rather, it means learning to trust the inner compass that guides your decisions. When your sense of purpose becomes rooted in internal clarity rather than external approval, your direction becomes far more stable. Over time, the experience of being misunderstood can transform from a source of frustration into a source of strength. Each moment in which you choose to remain aligned with your deeper understanding strengthens your ability to move forward independently. Instead of relying on immediate validation, you develop the patience to allow your ideas and actions to unfold over time. This patience is essential because meaningful change rarely occurs instantly. When new ideas or new perspectives emerge, they often require time before others begin to recognize their value. During this period, the chosen one must continue walking the path, without the reassurance that many people rely on. Learning to navigate this stage builds a powerful form of resilience. When your confidence is not dependent on the constant approval of others, you gain the freedom to explore possibilities that would otherwise remain hidden. You become less afraid of criticism because your sense of direction comes from within, rather than from the shifting opinions of the crowd. At the same time, this journey often cultivates empathy. When you have personally experienced the feeling of being misunderstood, you develop a deeper awareness of how easily people can misinterpret one another. This awareness can help you approach others with greater patience and compassion, even when their perspectives differ from your own. Eventually, many chosen ones begin to see that being misunderstood was never meant to isolate them permanently. Instead, it serves as a refining process that strengthens independence of thought. By learning to navigate misunderstanding without losing your sense of direction, you develop the confidence necessary to carry your ideas forward. The path of the chosen one is rarely defined by immediate recognition. Instead, it is shaped by the willingness to move forward, even when others cannot yet see the full picture. When you understand this, the opinions of others no longer hold the same power over your decisions. In time, the very qualities that once caused others to misunderstand you may become the qualities that allow you to contribute something meaningful to the world. Your curiosity, your willingness to question, and your determination to follow your inner direction can open doors that would never appear if you simply followed familiar paths. The trial of being misunderstood teaches an important lesson. Approval from the outside world can be encouraging, but it is not the true source of purpose. The deeper source lies within the quiet certainty that you are moving in alignment with your authentic self. The chosen one eventually learns that validation is not always immediate, and that recognition may arrive long after the journey has already begun. What matters most is the ability to continue moving forward with clarity and integrity, even when the path ahead is not fully understood by others. When you reach this stage of awareness, the experience of being misunderstood begins to lose its power to discourage you. Instead, it becomes a reminder that your journey is unique. The direction you are moving in may not be obvious to everyone else, but that does not mean it is without meaning. The chosen one learns to trust the inner direction that quietly guides each step, and in doing so, they discover that sometimes the greatest progress occurs when you are willing to walk a path that only you can see. Perhaps the most difficult trial on the path of the chosen one is not the isolation that separates you from others, or the misunderstanding that challenges your ideas. The most difficult trial is often the battle that takes place entirely within your own mind. Unlike the external struggles that others might eventually notice, this inner conflict is usually invisible to the outside world. It unfolds quietly, behind the scenes of your life, where doubts, fears, and uncertainties begin to question the direction you are trying to follow. Even the strongest individuals encounter moments when their confidence begins to waver. Strength does not mean the absence of doubt. In fact, the people who eventually develop the greatest inner resilience are often the ones who have faced the deepest internal struggles. There may be nights when you lie awake, questioning whether you are truly capable of achieving the vision that exists in your mind. There may be moments when the weight of uncertainty, makes you wonder whether the path you are walking will ever lead somewhere meaningful. These thoughts can appear suddenly, sometimes triggered by setbacks or disappointments that seem to confirm your worst fears. When a plan fails, when progress slows, or when circumstances become difficult, the voice of doubt may begin to speak more loudly. It may whisper that you are not prepared, that you are not talented enough, or that you should abandon the path you have chosen and return to something safer. For the chosen one, this voice can become one of the most persistent challenges on the journey. Unlike criticism from others, which can be ignored or dismissed, the inner voice of doubt originates from within your own mind. Because it sounds like your own thoughts, it can feel difficult to distinguish between healthy reflection and destructive self-criticism. At times, these inner battles can feel exhausting. From the outside, others may see only the surface of your life. They may see you continuing your daily responsibilities, maintaining conversations, and appearing calm and composed. What they cannot see is the internal struggle taking place beneath that surface. They cannot see the effort required to silence the doubts that arise when things do not go according to plan. Yet within these moments of internal conflict, something important is taking shape. Each time you confront doubt and choose to continue moving forward, you strengthen a deeper form of resilience. Each time fear appears and you refuse to allow it to dictate your decisions, you build a level of inner discipline that cannot easily be shaken. Many people assume that strength is developed through visible victories. They imagine that confidence grows only through success and external recognition. However, the reality is often very different. True strength is frequently forged in moments that no one else ever witnesses. It grows in the quiet decision to keep going, even when the outcome remains uncertain. The chosen one gradually learns that the most significant victories in life are not always visible achievements. Sometimes the greatest victory is simply refusing to surrender to the voice that insists you are not capable. Sometimes the most powerful transformation occurs when you realize that doubt is not an enemy that must be completely eliminated, but a challenge that can be understood and overcome. Every person carries some form of inner uncertainty. The difference is that many people allow those doubts to determine the limits of their actions. When fear suggests that something might fail, they retreat before even attempting the journey. Over time, those unchallenged doubts create invisible boundaries that shape the direction of their lives. The chosen one, however, is often placed in situations where retreat is no longer an option. The vision that exists within you continues to pull you forward, even when doubt tries to persuade you to turn back. This tension between fear and purpose becomes one of the defining aspects of your growth. In many ways, these internal struggles act as a refining process. They force you to examine your motivations more deeply. When your goals are challenged by uncertainty, you begin to ask yourself why those goals matter to you. If your purpose is shallow or temporary, doubt may easily convince you to abandon it. But if your purpose comes from a deeper place within you, the struggle itself can strengthen your commitment. During this process, you begin to develop greater awareness of your own thoughts. Instead of immediately believing every fear that appears in your mind, you start to observe those thoughts more carefully. You begin to recognize that the mind often generates stories designed to protect you from risk. While those stories may feel convincing in the moment, they do not always reflect the truth of what you are capable of achieving. As this awareness grows, your relationship with fear begins to change. Fear may still appear, but it no longer holds the same power over your decisions. You learn that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. Each step you take in the presence of uncertainty reinforces the belief that you are stronger than the doubts that once seemed overwhelming. This internal transformation does not happen instantly. It unfolds gradually through repeated experiences of challenge and perseverance. There will still be moments when doubt returns, sometimes unexpectedly. However, each time it appears, you will have greater experience in confronting it. The voice that once seemed impossible to silence will begin to lose its authority over your actions. One of the most powerful realizations on the path of the chosen one is understanding that your mind can become either your greatest obstacle or your greatest ally. When doubt controls your thinking, it limits your potential before you even begin. But when you learn to guide your thoughts with clarity and discipline, your mind becomes a source of strength that supports your growth. This shift in mindset is often the result of facing countless internal battles and choosing not to surrender. Each challenge faced within your own mind becomes part of the foundation upon which your future confidence is built. Over time, the same experiences that once caused anxiety begin to reinforce your sense of capability. Eventually, you begin to see your struggles from a different perspective. The doubts that once discouraged you become reminders of how far you have come. The fears that once seemed overwhelming become evidence of the growth that occurred each time you faced them directly. Through this process, the Chosen One discovers that true power is not defined by the absence of internal conflict. Instead, it is defined by the ability to navigate that conflict with awareness and determination. Strength emerges not from avoiding the battle within, but from engaging with it until clarity replaces confusion. The inner battles you face today may feel invisible to the world around you, but they are shaping the person you are becoming. Each moment of perseverance adds another layer of wisdom to your character. Each decision to continue moving forward reinforces the belief that your journey has meaning. Over time, the internal voice that once questioned your worth begins to lose its influence. In its place, a quieter but stronger voice begins to emerge. This voice does not shout or demand attention. Instead, it speaks with calm confidence, reminding you that the strength you have been searching for has been developing within you all along. Every challenge you overcome internally becomes part of the foundation for a stronger and wiser version of yourself. The doubts you faced taught you resilience. The fears you confronted taught you courage. The uncertainty you endured taught you patience and clarity. And as the Chosen One continues forward, they begin to understand that the greatest transformation was never happening in the external world alone. It was happening within them, in the quiet moments where doubt was confronted, fear was understood, and the determination to keep moving forward became stronger than anything that tried to stand in the way. If you find yourself facing isolation, misunderstanding, or deep inner battles, it is important to pause for a moment and reflect on what these experiences might truly mean. In the middle of difficult seasons, it is easy to assume that something has gone wrong. When relationships fade, when others fail to understand you, or when your own mind begins to question your direction, the natural reaction is to wonder whether you are falling behind while the rest of the world continues moving forward. But the journey of the Chosen One often unfolds differently from what most people expect. The path is rarely smooth, and it is almost never free from challenge. What may appear on the surface as struggle or delay can actually be part of a deeper process that is shaping who you are becoming. The trials you face are not necessarily signs that you are failing or losing your way. In many cases, they are signs that you are being prepared. Preparation does not always look like progress. Sometimes preparation looks like solitude that forces you to understand yourself more deeply. Sometimes it looks like being misunderstood by others, so that you learn to trust your own inner direction. And sometimes it appears as an inner battle, where doubt challenges you to strengthen the belief you have in your own potential. The path of the Chosen One has never been defined by comfort. Throughout every stage of the journey, there are moments when the road feels uncertain and the destination feels distant. Yet those moments are often where the most important growth takes place. Trials refine character in ways that comfort never can. They develop patience, resilience, and clarity. They reveal the difference between the person you once were and the person you are gradually becoming. When you look at your struggles through this perspective, they begin to take on a different meaning. The obstacles that once felt like barriers may slowly reveal themselves as lessons. The doubts that once felt overwhelming may become opportunities to strengthen your confidence. Even the loneliness that once felt painful may become the space where your true identity begins to emerge. It is often only in hindsight that people recognize the value of the challenges they once feared. Years later, when they look back on the difficult seasons of their lives, they realize that those moments were not interruptions in their journey. Instead, they were the very experiences that shaped their strength and direction. What feels like hardship today may one day become the story of how you discovered the resilience you did not know you possessed. The moments when you questioned yourself may become the moments that taught you perseverance. The seasons when you felt misunderstood may become the proof that you were learning to walk your own path, rather than simply following the expectations of others. The chosen one does not become strong because life was easy. Strength grows because challenges demanded growth. Purpose becomes clearer because difficulties forced deeper reflection. Over time, every trial you face becomes part of the foundation that supports your future. If you are currently walking through one of these difficult seasons, remember that you are not alone in experiencing these challenges. Many individuals who eventually discovered their purpose once stood exactly where you are now. They faced uncertainty, they questioned their direction, and they wondered whether the struggle would ever lead to something meaningful. What allowed them to move forward was the decision to keep going, even when clarity had not yet arrived. Step by step, they continued walking the path in front of them. With time, the meaning behind their struggles became visible, and the strength they developed along the way became one of their greatest assets. Your journey may still be unfolding, and many parts of it may remain unclear for now. But each experience you face is contributing to the person you are becoming. Every moment of perseverance adds another layer of wisdom, resilience, and understanding to your character. If this message spoke to you and resonated with the journey you are experiencing, take a moment to support the channel. Make sure to like this video, share it with someone who might need encouragement today, and subscribe for more content that explores the deeper journey of the chosen one and the trials that shape the path forward.